Okay, let's look at and or problems for probability. What's the difference? Okay, so one is going to say, well, for instance, let's look at one question. What is the probability of drawing a king and a heart on the first draw? Okay, so what is the probability of drawing a king and a heart on the first draw? So there's 52 cards in a deck, and we're going to pick one card, and this card has to satisfy both being a king and a heart. Well, out of the 52 cards, how many cards are both a king and a heart? Well, one card, right? That's the king of hearts. Okay? Right, the king of hearts. Let's draw the king of hearts. Okay? So the king of hearts looks like, right, we have this, and not a very good heart. The king of hearts, and then there's the crown, and he's got the forehead over here, and he's holding his scepter usually like this. And that's the king of hearts, right? There's only one card. That's the king of hearts. And there's only one king of hearts out of 52, right? So it tells us the probability of drawing a card that is both a king and a heart is 1 out of 52. Now, let's change that. And the way we would write that is the probability of a king and a heart is equal to 1 out of 52. There's only one card out of the 52 that satisfies both of these conditions. Now, I'm going to ask a similar question. I'm going to say, what is the probability of drawing a king or a heart, right? A heart and a king the same as last time, but this time we're using an or instead of an and, okay? Or a heart. So it means I can hit this, and means I have to satisfy both conditions on the left and right. Or means I can satisfy this one or this one. I don't have to satisfy both. How many ways can I satisfy at least one of these? Maybe both too, right? So or is just more general. Sometimes and or might be excluded from the sentence, usually not, but sometimes it does. And that's just because the English language is very flexible. So you might say, could I rewrite this sentence with an or and? Okay? So that's just an ambiguity in English sometimes. So king or a heart. So what is the probability of drawing a king or a heart? Let's just be on the first draw. Okay? Well, so what I'm going to say is, how many kings are there? Well, there's 4 kings. And how many hearts are there? There are 12 hearts. Okay? Right? Are there 12 hearts? Well, there's 2 through 10, and then there's Jack, Queen, King. Okay, so there's 13, right? Okay, I'm sorry, there are 13 hearts. Okay. Now the problem is, though, I've already counted the king of hearts. So there are 4 kings. One of them is the king of hearts, and then there are 12 additional hearts, right? So how many cards are either a king or a heart? Well, there are 13 out of 52. I'm sorry, there are 4 plus 13. There are 4 kings. So there are 4 kings plus 13 hearts. And we had to subtract so we don't double count that king of hearts. There is 1 card that is a king and a heart. So 13 plus 4 is 17. 17 minus 1 is 16. So there are 16 distinct cards that are either a king or a heart. And out of a total of 52 cards, so that would be 16 out of 52. Right? So there are 16 out of the 52 cards that can satisfy being only a king, only a heart, or both a king and a heart. Okay? So it's a 16 out of 2 probability. And that's the difference between OR and AND. So the OR just means you have to satisfy one of these conditions. The AND means you have to satisfy both of these conditions. Do these problems always have an OR or an AND? No. They don't. They usually do, but they might not. And the reason for that is English is a flexible language. So you always go back and ask yourself, could I rewrite this sentence as an AND, say a king and a heart, or a king or a heart, or something equivalent? So I hope that answers your question, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.